This is the Smoked Debrief. Light up, lock in, and let's get to it.
Oh, I hate these microphones. This is so 2023 podcast. Oh well. Hi, I'm Jim.
And I'm angry because we just had a great hour and a half podcast, and Jim forgot to push the record button, so we got no recording at all.
Look,
And
that's not true.
I find it almost impossible to work under these conditions with such an amateur. For goodness sakes, do I have to do everything? We smoked the La Roma de Cuba Robusto.
It was excellent.
It was a fabulous smoke, though you won't get to hear any of our great review of it because, Jim forgot to start the camera recording.
That's not true.
And we talked about a lot of controversial stuff, which probably saved all of y'all from not listening to us anymore.
I don't have to say everything.
So,
I'm going to show you why that shit didn't work.
so
This is why it didn't work. This is why we didn't get audio. Because my Rodecaster Pro wireless
Jim has one job on this show,
receiver took a dump.
and that's to be in charge of
And
audio.
it's having issues charging back.
And
The mics are just fine. They got plenty of power.
he got this off of Etsy or off of Temu or somewhere in China. This Chinese recording setup here, and
I get my camera equipment the same place everybody else does, Amazon. So we're going to set that right there.
so I can only tell you how disappointed I am. But like I said, perhaps it was for the best because Jim was out of control.
I was out of control.
But the cigar was fantastic.
The cigar was awesome.
La Roma de Cuba. So I'm 2 for 2 so far
That
in
was
my
a great
cigar
one.
choices.
2 for 2, I agree.
And oh my
But
God,
it was not my fault.
because of all the technical difficulties, I totally forgot to prepare my facts about the CAO Brazilia that we're going to smoke today. This has been forever my go-to driving across the country cigar. When I used to drive from LA to Vegas and Vegas to LA to work, going past my favorite exit, Zizek's Road, which I haven't seen in years and I'm kind of missing. But anyway, the CAO Brazilia looks lustrous wrapper is perfectly blended with Nicaraguan fillers, creating a full-bodied cigar with a long, luxurious finish.
I think that these cigar manufacturers, they pretty much cut and paste their...
Well,
their
then
cigars
maybe you don't
are.
deserve this
Oh,
lustrous
hell
cigar.
no, you're going to hand that
This
son of
is
a
a
joke, bro.
lustrous cigar.
I'm counting on it being
But I don't know,
lustrous.
it might be too strong for
Are
your
you going
weak
to be
ass.
3 for 3?
It might be too strong for your weak ass.
Well, I'll just grab
Are
one
we
of mine.
rolling?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I mean,
And we have audio because
you're
we had to put these
1,000% positive.
audio. Yeah, you can see it right there.
I'm so. Oh, see, he's got to check and see to make sure.
We're recording.
Okay,
We were recording.
here you go.
And everybody will know because they will have saw me walk up there and it would have been recorded.
Of course. So, the sadness that I'm feeling right now, but it might be joyous because maybe Jim was a little too out of control.
Out of control. I'm sorry, but you could at least say how quick I had the backup ready to go. It was 10 minutes. I had these bad boys put up and ready to go. And I don't even do this shit. I don't do this shit for a living. He does this shit for a living. He just sat there.
All I know
He
is
was grabbing his phone. He's texting his buddies. This dumb motherfucker. He has got this shitty Rodecaster Pro wireless. I told him we should have used headphones and microphones that are hardwired.
that's not true. I'm 100% against headphones. Only the love I feel for you is going to make me stop berating you right now.
Have at it. I think we're out of juice. Bro.
I don't know why I love a cigar that's smoky so much. Look at that, Jim. Look at all of that smoke.
You like a smoky cigar, don't you?
And this is like the perfect size cigar.
Let's see. How's that? We'll get the ASM viewers, whatever ASM stands for. That'll be our little short ASM clip for Instagram.
So,
Let's do another one.
how long have you been married, Jim?
26 years.
Wow.
Not long enough. I'm married to the love of my life.
You really are still completely ridiculously in love, aren't you?
I am.
What do you attribute that to?
Probably because we dated for like 12 years. We got all of our fights out when we were dating. And now it's just peaceful bliss.
You dated for 12 years?
We did.
So you met her when you were how old?
I met her when I came home on leave. She was 18, still in high school. We told that story before.
You were?
I was, at that time, I would have been she might have been 17. I
think the statute of limitations has expired for that.
I would have been 20. I would have been 20. She was 18. I was 20.
And
I think.
you dated until she was 30? And she stuck with you?
You know, you're right. That math doesn't work out. We met in 80. Now I'm questioning my whole life. 80. We met in 87. Christmas of 87. And she was 18. So I would have been 21. Yeah, I would have been 21. But we dated. It was either 9 or 12 years that we dated.
9 or 12?
Well, it might have been closer to 9. Felt like 12.
Did she not want to marry you?
That's when I was building my business. She was.
So you were a poor motherfucker.
Time, yes.
And she was looking for somebody with some dough.
Pretty much. She was going to nursing school, and it wasn't time. We just weren't. And it's so funny that we're talking about this because I just mentioned something to her the other day because when we first met, and I came home.
Your mom introduced you, right?
My mother introduced us. Well, I went back to Germany.
It was love at first sight for you, right?
It was. Yeah, she's amazing. So I came home after I left the Army, and we just, I was still living with my mother. I had separation pay, which, I gave that to my mom. And there was really no rush. Then we just waited, and I started my business, and it took off. I did that for, I think I had the business maybe 6 years, And then it was time to pull the trigger. So we got married in 1996.
That's 8 years.
Okay.
Not 9
I told
or
you
12.
it felt like 12.
So how'd
It was
you
an eternity not being married to her.
really?
That's what it felt
So
like.
you were ready, and she was like,
No, she was ready. We were both ready. We were just smart. Because you know how it was kind of a situation like
all
where,
you young cigar smokers out there, pay attention to this wise and sage
Yes.
and wisdom you're receiving.
No, I think I could give better business advice than relationship advice. But it was.
I would say no, because you've been married for 20-something years and to the same woman, and I see you guys, and as unbelievable as it is to me, she still likes you.
Yeah. Mostly. It just, I think if we had gotten married then, I think it would have been settling for an economic standard at that time. What we were at right there, if we had gotten married, we would still be there. But we waited, and then it was, okay, we can afford to do this, and my daughter Savannah.
Or we can wait a little bit and afford to do this.
Yeah, and I will say it when my daughter Savannah was born, and we're in the hospital and the nurse comes over with her little computer and the bill, and I'm like, "Do you give cash discounts?" And because back then we did a lot of vehicles at that time, and people would come in and they would just pay cash. So at any given time, I would have $7-8 of cash in my pocket, just because I just came from work or something like that. Somebody came and paid their bill or something. So we're at the hospital, and that nurse comes in there wanting to do the final billing, and I just she wanted to know, first thing, what insurance do you have? We don't have insurance. We'll be paying cash. And, do you give cash discounts? And it cost me $3,300 for when Savannah was born. It's probably $103,000 now, but it was nice. I mean, we both had to go back to work, so our honeymoon lasted a weekend.
Where'd you go? Piggly Wiggly?
No, actually, we went to the Food Line. They had that nice barbecued beef.
Yeah.
We actually went to the Four Seasons in Greensboro and got the room with the hot tub. It's the truth, bro.
Fuck, I wish Bill Engvall was here. He could make something nice out of that.
So that was it. We've been on trips. I mean, we had gone on trips when we were dating. We went places, went to Vegas and the conventions in Atlanta and stuff like that. And so we could go anytime. It's just weird because we have a good time when we're together. And there's we take the kids to the beach and stuff. But it's just a matter of like, I look forward to coming home and being with my wife and our little puppies. Our daughters are grown now, so they're off on their own.
You're gonna let that go out?
I'm not. And we just come home and we'll fix dinner and then we watch TV. She is an early riser, so she's up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So when we settle in about 7 or 8 o'clock, she's out. and I'm just watching movies as long as it's not Hooper.
Yeah, I know no Burt Reynolds movies.
No Burt Reynolds movies.
Well, I know you loved her. I know
Yeah.
even then, a lot, because you've always you talk about her.
I just asked her to marry me. She said yes. So then we dated for several years. Let's just say several. We dated for several years after that. We were engaged.
When did you decide to get married? How'd that happen?
It was just time. I came back from there was a electronics convention, a mobile electronics convention in Orlando, Florida, and I had some time. I was there seeing stuff. I was bored out of my mind. I actually rented a Harley when I was in Orlando, just so I could just go ride around, and
Great place to ride, Florida.
it's a beautiful place to ride, but I didn't like it. I was doing it just to think, just to ride around and think about things. And when I came home, it was time. Let's do it. And we we got married. Her grandfather is the one who performed the service.
Well, that's cool.
And we got a little rental house, which was really funny. When we were trying to buy a house, and I was trying to get.
Did you have VA, GI Bill?
Yeah, we were doing that, and it came down to it. They said that I couldn't afford, based on what was going on then, I couldn't afford a $780 a month house payment, is what they said. That's what the banker said. So we're like, okay.
Even with your VA, and they were going to, because back then the VA, you didn't need a down payment, right?
Yeah, but even though it was guaranteed, I don't care what they say, you're not going to be able to go into a bank and say, here's my VA shit, I get whatever I want. That ain't going to happen. And what was frustrating is this was when they were doing those ninja applications.
Took 2 seconds, right?
Yeah, and we were being honest about everything. This is everything we have. Well, if I'd have known, I should have lied and said, I make millions a week. And we could have got a damn mansion, and that sumbitch would have been paid for by now. So, but they said we couldn't afford like $700, $780, whatever the payment was. It's just like, okay. So we rented a house, and the rent was $1,200 a month. Had no problem paying that shit.
Fucking banks.
So we lived in that house. That was when Savannah was born. We lived in that house, and then we just started looking. So we stayed in that rental house about a year, and then we found the house we're in now. And it was weird because I knew I wanted to live in Graham because it's just a nice community, and as soon as we walked into that house, we sat down like we were home and didn't realize it. And then we were talking about it. It was like, it's, this place. And it wasn't the greatest. It's not the greatest house, but it's paid for. Got the VA. We got 15-year mortgage because I'm not stupid. I don't want a 30-year mortgage. Paid a little more every month than we were supposed to on the principal. Got it paid off real quick. So I'm sure it's not a mansion. It's not there have been times where I said, let's move, let's go get a big house out in the country with some land. And we both love the house we're in. But she's like, I don't want to clean a big house. So we don't move. We don't get a big house.
How long you been married? 22 years?
26 years.
26.
And I would do it all over again.
You know what you should do?
What's that?
Hollywood, the relationship advisor. You should take her someplace nice and ask her to marry you again.
I've done that.
Oh, you have? You
Yeah,
did that?
We did that. We've already done that.
Jim, the romantic. You know, no one would look at you and think, Jim, the romantic young.
What's that thing? Dr. Seuss quote. I don't want to fall asleep because my reality is better than my dreams.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about her. You know, it's because she is exactly the person, you know, she's just great. She puts up with my shit. I put up with her shit. Her shit's not as much as my shit, but and we get along, we click. It's so funny because, you know, everybody has fights. You know, everybody has fights. If you're not, it's not a relationship. If you're not having a fight with somebody. So, we had some knockdown drag-outs when we were dating. But when we got married, I don't even know if we've raised our voices to each other. We would have disagreements, and it's so funny because the girls would be there and they were like, the girls would be freaking out. Oh my God, you guys are arguing. You're arguing so much. I was like, no, we're not. We're just having a little disagreement. It was kind of funny because the kids would be freaking out and stuff, and me and Carrie are like,
I feel like you're like, okay, babe, because it doesn't matter.
what you mean?
Like if you guys were having a disagreement, you would think about it and think, this is not worth having this disagreement.
Oh, hell no. Now I am like that now.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
it took 20 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying now.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's like, you're right, baby, I'm sorry. But it took 20 years. So if you're just getting married to somebody, start doing that right off the bat. And
Yeah,
you
why
will
wait 20-something
be
years?
happy forever.
You know, the thing that really gets me about people in relationships is
Joint Facebook account.
people. No, but people say mean shit to each other.
Yeah.
If I was in a relationship with a woman and she said nasty, mean shit, hateful shit,
Yeah.
that'd be it. I'd go. I don't think people that really care about each other say nasty, mean shit to each other. You mean, you know what I mean? Hateful. Like, do you know what I'm saying or no?
Me and Carrie just sit around saying mean and nasty shit about other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're a team.
Exactly.
She is an amazing person.
I think the telephone's the worst thing that's ever happened. The cell phone is the worst thing that's ever happened in relationships.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't know, dude.
you can create an entire fantasy relationship with somebody else.
Oh, no, yeah. Well, that's
while
just
you're
the internet in general. It's
You know
not
what I'm
really
saying?
fun.
I think it's horrible, you know? I think it's a terrible thing. It creates, what's the word I'm looking for? Possibilities. It creates
False possibilities.
false possibilities. And you can have an entire relationship with someone via texting and totally think that it's the greatest thing on the planet.
It's like going to the strip club and, man, that girl was all over me. I can't believe she was all over me. I think she wants me. It's like, bro, it's because you slipped her $200 into her G-string. That's why.
What is wrong with guys? Now, you know, in the military, you know, it's like strip club intensive, you know. It's like everybody wants to go to the strip clubs.
Victory Drive.
You know,
In Fort Benning, Georgia.
And we, we'd be TDY somewhere, we'd flown somewhere, and then,
First question, where's
the strip
club?
and we'd go to the strip club, and, some second lieutenant on my crew, he'd be spending, $200, $300, he'd be like, she is really into me. And I'm just like, bro, listen to yourself.
She's going to be into you as long as that money lasts.
That's right. No, I think we made a connection. And then there's the guys that go, and then when you're leaving, they're all whores. And I'm like, well, what are you doing going then? I mean, there's strip clubs and there's strip clubs. There's strip clubs like Vegas and Dallas, which is an entirely different level of strip club.
I like the ones that have the sign up. We've got 25
beautiful women, and 3 ugly ones.
And every time you go in there, well, it must be the ugly one's night.
So we did a movie in Mobile, Alabama. I took a crew from LA. We go out there. The very first day, it starts raining at 11 a.m. when we're outside at this lake. Fucking lightning everywhere. And we're like, if there's lightning within 5 miles, we can't shoot. You have to shut the generator off. And so we got shut down for the day. And we get in the car, and I'm driving us back to the hotel, and they're like, let's go to the strip club. And I'm like, guys, this is Mobile, Alabama. And they're like, no. I said, I don't even think there's any colleges here. No, let's go. I'm like, okay. And then one of the other guys with me, he's like my age, and, he's like, we're both looking at each other going, what the fuck are we doing? So we're in this van. I got him, me, and the other 4 or 5 guys on my crew. We go to the strip club. The very first dancer that comes out is 3 months pregnant. And my buddy and I look at each other, and we're like, exactly what we expected. I mean, it's Mobile, Alabama, for God's sakes, in the heart of the Bible Belt.
Give me $10, I'll let you name my baby.
So they're not tipping her, right? And we're sitting right on the front. She did. They're sitting right on the front row, and he and I are behind them, in the little table behind them. And she finishes dancing, and she goes off the stage. Another girl comes up, and she comes over and starts berating them for not tipping her. She goes, I got a baby on the way. I need tips too. She is chewing their ass. And my buddy goes, I'll give you $10 if you'll just walk away. And she's like, okay. So my buddy gives her $10. She leaves, and the guys turn around. Okay, we're ready to go. We go out and we get in the van and we're driving away, and they're like, well, that was an experience. And we're like, we tried to tell you, it's Mobile, Alabama. And
yeah.
One of the very first things I shot as a cameraman was Women of the Men's Club in Dallas. We spent 3 weeks at the Men's Club in Dallas filming a documentary for them that they use for promo and all that kind of stuff.
It's a men's club.
Mm-hmm.
There were women?
It was called the Men's Club.
Oh, was it a strip club?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And, marble dance. I mean, it was high dollar.
Nice. Yeah.
They've served, absolutely, it was the best steak place in Dallas. I mean, if you want to have a steak, well, you go to the strip club.
Yeah. I've never heard that.
Never?
Never heard it. If you want a good steak, go to the strip club.
They had a chef. It was crazy. And
that's some shit that would only be in Texas.
Yeah, only in Texas. So we're filming this thing, and we're in there for 9-10 hours a day. And then on Friday and Saturday nights, it's when all the women from out of town flew in to dance. Teachers from Midland, Odessa, El Paso. So the quality of the dances went up 100%.
Yeah.
Students from SMU and Texas Christian, they came and danced. And The place was friggin' packed with lawyers and doctors. Everybody there was in a business suit. And one of my lighting guys thought he fell in love. So we finished shooting like at 9 and 10 o'clock, and we'd all leave, and he'd stay till like 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
romancing this girl. And he came to me like we got paid on Fridays. He came to me on Thursday and goes, hey man, can I borrow $200? I'm like, for what? He goes, well, I'm going to stay after we wrap tonight, and that's about what I spend.
Like child support.
I'm like, what how much money have you spent on this girl? He goes, let's see, we've been here 2 weeks. I've been here like $2,200. And I'm like, bro, I am not giving you $200. I'm not giving you $10. If she was going to marry you and you were going to spend the rest of your life with her, I wouldn't give you a nickel. I said, she is not interested in you at all. He goes, yo, no, she really is into me. I could tell. And she said, when the show's over, she's going to come visit me in L.A. and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I said, I want you to do me a favor. Tonight, I want you to just hang out, drink. Because they were cool to us.
Yeah.
If when we did hang out and stay afterwards, they didn't give a shit because we weren't, tipping the dancers or everything, because I said, I want you to not spend a dime on her tonight. Just drink, talk to her, have a good time. And if you still want $200 from me tomorrow, I'll give it to you.
He still wanted it, did he?
No. We came in the next morning at 9 o'clock, started setting up, and he's not saying a word to anybody. And I'm like, so I went over and said, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? You were right.
She was a whore.
He goes, I just drank, and we talked for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then she never came and talked to me again the rest of the night. I'm like, there you go, buddy.
Yep.
I just don't understand how you can think that it's real.
Oh.
What do you think of your cigar?
It's not as good as the muted one.
The muted one?
The non-audio.
Oh, you mean the one where we had like a great hour-and-a-half show?
Yes.
And the Aroma de Cuba?
Aroma de Cuba.
Yeah,
Yes.
You're right. It's not. It's not bad.
Not bad. It's a CAO.
It's a CAO. It's a, everyday $6, $7 cigar.
That's cheap for a CAO.
Yeah. It's the Goya, or Goy, G-O-I. How many kids do you have?
2
Girls?
daughters, yep.
And they work at the shop?
Courtney does. Savannah doesn't.
Yes, Courtney is like rules the roost, doesn't she?
Yeah, Courtney runs the show. She is a hustler.
How have you been able to have such great help at the store, do you think? I mean, because everybody there is always super nice.
That's Courtney.
Is it?
Yeah, she does the hiring and everything, and she just has this talent for weeding people out, that she knows they're not going to be a good fit. And when she does the interviews and
she's
stuff,
not the kind of person that's going to let someone that's not pulling their weight hang around.
No, not at all. She'll straight up tell them, you need to do this. Yeah, everybody else does it. You need to do it.
Well, that's cool because that's how you need to be if you're running a business.
Yeah,
Because that's got to be
Go ahead.
That's got to be the hardest thing if you're a business owner, is having people that believe in your company as much as you do. Because that's always how things go wrong, is when the people that are working for you don't have your ethic.
But you expect that though. I mean, you expect them to not really care. But once Courtney is real good about like. Yeah, there's always tasks you have to do every day. You know, because it's basically a restaurant, and there's always tasks. You know, the
Prepping
restrooms have
and
to be
cleaning
clean,
and-
yeah, all that. Well, Courtney has index cards, and they're laminated and everything. And anytime like somebody's sitting around or anything, she tells them, she said, "Go get the cards. You start with the first card. When you get done with that one, you put it over in this pile. Then there's another card. You done with that one, goes in the pile. You've done that." And they have to have those cards completed, you know, by the end of the shift. And she's just real good, you know. She's not mean or anything about it.
But she's business.
Yeah, she's got a good grip on that. It's really cool.
Well, you have to be. You can be friendly, but you can't be friends with everybody that's working for you, because that creates an environment where, well, I don't have to do this right now.
Yeah, well, I think what gets the most of the people that work behind the counter at the shop is the tips. The tips are real good, and if Courtney is working, you can bet your butt whoever's working with her is that, because they all split the tips. And Courtney, she can see a regular coming across the parking lot. She knows exactly what their drink is.
Really?
She has it ready for them by the time they get into the store. And the customers love her to death. You know, they absolutely love her to death. And the other kids that are working there, they see that, and they're like,
That's how I'm
okay,
going to get tips.
That's how you do it. And Courtney tells them, she said, you've got to do this. If you want those tips, you know, and we pay a good minimum wage, but they get tips. So on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, really pretty much every day, because we're constantly busy. We have a steady flow. You have the potential, like somebody that's making $14 an hour in one day, with the tips. After you count the tips and everything, they're probably actually making anywhere from $25 to $35 an hour, based on their tips.
Well, that's great.
And they do get some good tips.
That's great.
You know, and Courtney knows, you know, she knows how to work those customers, and it's really, it's just service. You get people in there.
Because
You're
people go
smiling.
everywhere else and they get shitty service.
Yeah, you go in, people come in, they want to see you smiling. They want to see everybody's having a good time. The customer's going to have a good time. If the customer's having a good time, them tips are going to come rolling in. And it's just crazy. And, you know, but that's it. And it's just coffee. You know, I do. There are times when I go in and I'll have. Lately, I've just been doing nothing but I'll make me a 6-shot mocha, and I'll put it in a mug and I drink it. And that's espresso and chocolate, you know, steamed milk and stuff. But I've been doing that every day, because I'll have one every day, 6 shots, and I've been doing that for the past few months. Well, yesterday, I'm gonna get some brewed coffee, and I got some our wild roast, which is a Colombian, and I fill my cup up and I go back to the back, get ready to roast, and I take a sip of it, and I'm like, that is a damn good cup of coffee. And it's like, holy shit, I roasted those beans. That's some damn good coffee. And I'm not bragging. It's just, I think, because we give a shit.
Right.
We care, you know, and a lot of people, you know, you got customers, if something happens, I know the first month we were open, This guy gave us a 1-star review because we didn't have stevia. And I replied to his review and told him, you know, please come back in so I can refund your money and you never come back here again. You give us 1 star because we don't have stevia. This was our first month of being open. You know, I have no idea what sweeteners and stuff to get. So we get the ones that are suggested. Well, we have stevia now. We also have 3 or 4 different variations of sugar, and then probably another 3 or 4 sweeteners, honey, you know, raw sugar, all that stuff. People don't understand that stuff costs money. But, you know, if that's what it takes to keep people happy because we happen to have, you know, their particular
artificial sweetener.
Yeah, it just like the fact that somebody would go online and give you a review because you didn't have a sweetener that they wanted. If he had said something like sweet and low, I'd have said, okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
You should have sweet
Yeah.
and low.
Yeah.
You should have the pink and blue.
Yeah.
But as far as the green and red and all the other shit,
He just should have said, hey, could you guys maybe get some stevia? You know? Or at least treat it that way.
I would have been happy to. I said, we'll have it in the next visit. It will be here.
But that's a guy that's just looking to be miserable. He's got a miserable life, and he's looking to be miserable.
And that's why I quit doing the stereo stuff. Because
Really?
there's people that they figure their entire purpose in life is to suck the fun out of shit other people are doing. You can't stand to see anybody else successful
Or having a good time.
So you got to ruin it for them.
Well, this is a good outdoor working cigar
Yeah.
when you aren't sitting around enjoying every second of a puff. Nothing wrong with a cigar, but it's definitely not the no audio La Aroma de Cuba cigar.
But it's kind of a tie with the Romeo and Julieta. But that La Aroma de Cuba is...
See, I should love this because it's got that dark, oily wrapper, but
Yeah.
I don't think this is as strong as the La Aroma de Cuba. I think the La Aroma de Cuba was a little bit
Really?
more
I get it.
powerful.
It was a little-
When you got up, you were a little lightheaded.
Yeah, I mean, it was hitting me. I was like, yeah,
I thought I was going to have to get your walker. I have a lot of nerve with my bad knee talking about you and a walker.
I think this one's it's a little stronger. The other one, I think the La Aroma had a better blend. And they kind of...
It was definitely more complex.
Yes.
It was definitely more complex.
It had more flavor.
Yeah.
Because I kept getting that dark chocolate note.
For the love of God, I heard about that dark chocolate for an hour when we weren't recording audio.
I'm sorry.
Are you going to just come back now and talk about it for another hour and a
It had
half?
a dark chocolate note in it. And I don't know, maybe it's the coffee side of me or whatever, but because I get that with some of my coffee when I roast it and I drink it. And I get these dark chocolate notes, these walnut, caramel.
Now you're sounding like a true cigar connoisseur, Jim.
It doesn't happen very often.
I know that.
But sometimes when I'm like, okay, I get that note. I'm getting it. It's like with that shitty fake Cuban.
Bro, there were no notes in that. Notes of hay, notes of hay, notes of antifreeze.
Water buffalo dung.
You know, I don't hate these microphones here. These microphones make it look kind of professional, you know?
Yeah. It's like,
All right, baby, this Wolfman Jack. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, I was before I went into service, I was a DJ at WSOE in Elon.
I was a DJ at KGKL in San Angelo.
Hell yeah. That shit was so fun. And like I had my little FCC license. I was so proud of that shit. And we shut off at midnight. If we wanted to stay on
You could?
past midnight, we could, but you had to stay on until the next shift came in the next day.
Really?
So we pulled an all-nighter.
6 a.m.?
Yeah. We pulled an all-nighter. And this is when you're still spinning records.
Oh, yeah, I know, baby.
Oh man, it was so much fun. But I got into the production studio and I was making our own ads for the radio station, and I would do like Kermit the Frog impressions and stuff, and ads. It was so cool.
I worked at a tiny ass country station first. I mean, barely had enough power, I think, to stay in town. If you went out of town, you never. And one night I said, that song was by Red Sovine. And it's Red Sovine, I think, or Red Sovine, and I said Red Sovine. So maybe I said Red Sovine. And like the next week they got like 30 people saying, your DJ doesn't even know how to pronounce Red Sovine. I'm like, okay. Sorry. But I got sent to the stock show and rodeo to do an interview. And I interviewed Reba fucking McEntire.
Oh shit.
And it was like her first performance in an arena. And when she performed at the San Angelo Stock Show and Rodeo, and I interviewed Reba McEntire. She's like 14 or 15 years old.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
She was nobody.
Yeah, I didn't interview anybody. This was back when Taxi was on. Remember that TV show Taxi?
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, and what was his name? The guy who played Doc on...
Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd. He played Jim.
Yeah.
Well, my persona on the radio, I was the Reverend Jim.
Really?
And it was so damn fun. We had guys, this was during the summer, so school was out. There was no bathroom in the joint.
In the station?
In the station, there was no bathroom. And
what?
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with Elon. This was back.
How is that legal?
Beats me. But they
had an outhouse?
This was no outhouse. But this was when Elon, now Elon's more liberal. They're called the Phoenix. Well, back then they were called the Fighting Christians.
Oh, their football team?
They did have a football. They had a football team.
Their mascot was the Fighting Christians.
Fighting Christian looked like a drunken Irishman. So they, if I wanted to go to the bathroom, the closest bathroom was the Quickie Mart that was down the road, like 2 blocks down the road.
So you had to put a song on.
Freebird, because it was 13 minutes. And I had to go out there and lock the door, run down to the thing and do my business, and then get back before the song was over. But I had some guys calling, wanting me to play, I think it was Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor. They wanted me to play the whole album. So they called, and I said, okay, I'll do that. And so I let it play. These guys brought me a case of Moosehead beer. And I was living it up. It was so much fun. But being a college station, there weren't a lot of albums like that.
Right.
It was mostly like REM and the B-52s and Husker Du, shit like. And I wasn't into that stuff. I like the B-52s. I tolerated REM until they got real popular, and then they just, But it Radio Free Europe. That was the one. I like that one. The REM. It was a good one.
So, the KGKL was right on the major throughway through town, through San Angelo. 4 lanes going. It was like the major highway. 4 lanes going one way, and then 100 feet over going the other direction. Right in the center of town, and they used to have events in the parking lot because there's a huge parking lot there. So they had speakers set up and everything. So if I wanted to, I could throw a switch and the speakers would play outside, and then you could hear the music outside.
Yeah.
And so the window looked out. The DJ booth window looked right out over that main thoroughfare. And one night, Saturday night, about 11:30, these 2 cars pull in, and these 3 guys in each car, or 4 guys in one, 3. They get out and they start fighting in the parking lot. So I call the cops.
And you didn't put on any songs?
When the cop pulls up, I put on Elton John's "Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting," and I fucking turn the speakers on. And the minute I start playing the music, the guy stopped fighting and started laughing. And the cops, they talked to him for like 10 minutes, and then they let them all go. But the cops called me back. I don't know if it was our dispatcher or one of the cops, and he goes, "That was genius." I'm like, well, it worked, didn't it? Always played "You've Lost That Love and Feeling." That was my first song of the night. Being a DJ was cool.
I always
instant celebrity.
Like Wolfman Jack.
It's the Wolfman Jack coming to you now.
American Graffiti, when he was on there, it was just so cool. And then, he was always on like TV shows and stuff too. He would be a star or a guest on a show. But have you ever seen the Hollywood Nights?
KNIGHT or NIGHT?
Yeah.
I've seen I've seen the VHS cover, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
Well, the whole movie, the soundtrack is great, but the whole movie, a DJ is in the background doing the songs and stuff, and every once in a while, they'll show the guy, and it's like glass window, and people can see him from the street, and he's out there, and perfect DJ voice, just perfect, and. Of course, this was one of the 50s, 60s, and but that movie is so funny. It is hilarious.
Being a DJ was cool. It really was.
I enjoyed it.
It was cool because we didn't have a format you had to play. You could play pretty much whatever you wanted as long as it wasn't something ridiculous.
Yeah. The old turntables.
And you'd fuck up and forget to cue that turntable that was playing, and you'd be sitting there, and you'd look over at the meter, and the meter's just dead on the left side, and you'd be like, fuck!
Oh. This is a good stogie.
It's a good stogie. It's not a great stogie. But I love the band, and I love the cigar. The cigar looks, kick-ass.
I give it an 8.
Yeah.
An 8.
It's a good cigar. It's a cigar I'd still smoke.
Yeah.
I wish the Leroy de Cuba was this size. It wasn't quite as big a ring gauge as this. So did you decide you're not going to do another store? Another coffee shop?
Oh, the timing's right. Yeah, we'll do one.
You have a place you're thinking of?
No. Right now, it's this, I guess we're going to have to get political on this. This is, because we're feeling the tariffs.
Are you?
My supplies, because, a lot of my supplies, our cups come from China. So we have them custom made. Nobody here does that, so we have to get them from China.
Nobody
And
in the States makes your
custom
fucking
makes
cups.
If they do, they're buying them from China and then bringing them over, and I'm still paying more.
No shit.
No shit. I have actually looked at equipment to make my own,
And it's the
and sometimes I'm like, I wonder what it would cost, and I wonder if I could get some kind of grant or funding to open up a cup manufacturing company. And we do it here. If I could get trucks.
would you do
here
cups
and
for other
business here.
people?
Yeah, of course. I would have to stay in.
I wouldn't be able to stay in business just doing my own cups.
Right.
Because
It would probably be with the equipment, people to run it, the warehouse power, everything. I would say if I had $2 million, I think I could pull it off. I think I could open up a company that manufactures cups
Would you do it here?
and custom prints in Alamance County.
This building.
Oh no.
We're talking about a big, big place.
Yeah. But see, the regulations and all that stuff would kill me. So my estimates are very conservative because I would have to be paying a bunch of stuff for, whatever environmental and, all that junk. Hopefully Trump gets all that stuff done away with where people can actually, if they think about opening up some kind of manufacturing here, they can actually do it. It's actually doable.
Did the past administration not make it doable for manufacturing companies in the U.S. and shit?
They didn't want it. Because the EPA regulations, OSHA, all this other stuff, it's ridiculous. They don't. You have to be a multi-billionaire or billionaire in order to start a business. Did you watch that Palmer Luckey episode I saw you show?
I watched part of it.
That kid's smart.
Yeah.
But his point, like, he owns a defense company. Well, he's not your average defense company. Because
It's usually a conglomerate, right?
well, like, what most of the defense contractors do now is they get the money from the government and then try to build the project, try to build something. Palmer Luckey's company, Anduril, they build the product and then show it to the government and say,
Oh, that's
this is what we
that's
can do.
genius.
well, he's got a contract for unmanned airplanes, drones, and he also does submarines. And the kid is just, and this was one of the things that surprised the shit out of me. He told, he asked Sean Ryan, he said, can you guess what the ratio of boat building is between the United States and China? He said, how many boats do you think China can build?
5 to 1.
350 to 1. And Sean Ryan said, yeah, but that's, and Palmer Luckey said, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that I'm including commercial ships and private ships and cruise ships and stuff like that in my China numbers. He said, but what you don't realize is in China, they mandate that every boat built is built to military standards so they can be converted if needed. So like you have a cruise ship, it's got the same damn deck as an aircraft carrier. So we lose one of our boats, we build one in a month. China loses one, they can build 350 in a month.
Not a month or whatever the time period.
Whatever. That's still a lot of fucking boats. But Trump, I just saw something where he said we need to get back into the shipbuilding business. And I'm like, evidently somebody saw that Palmer Luckey episode on Sean Ryan. That kid, he loves America, and he loves what he's doing, and everything he's doing is to protect our people from getting killed in a war.
What's his name?
Palmer Luckey. You know, he invented the Oculus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the VR headset. And he sold it to Facebook. He went to work for Facebook. And then when Trump ran in 2016, Palmer Luckey gave like $9,000 to some conservative group. And Facebook people found out about it. So he was kicked out of Facebook because of that. And, you know, they blackballed him and all that stuff because he was a Trumper. And he started Anduril, which he still was a billionaire. You know, I think he did Oculus when he was like 13 or 14. He was homeschooled, not a college graduate, and smart as hell. And it's so cool. He talks about the stuff like Sean Ryan. All of his guests get gummy bears that Sean Ryan has made or whatever. And he gives them to Palmer. Palmer opens them up and starts eating them. He's like, "Oh, these have." He said, "These are not made with," and he starts spouting off all these chemicals and stuff. He said, "I studied food science for a little while. I was really into it." And he's sitting there touching them and eating them and everything. He said, "Oh, these are good ones." He said, "Because you know the other ones that have this coating on it," he said, "you can feel it, so they don't stick together." And he said, "If you eat too many of them, it will give you the shits." And he says, "It's so funny, you know." I watched another video where it was a reporter from C-SPAN or something. They were with him in California. He's got those Navy SEAL boats,
Fast boats.
Well, it's a big one.
Yeah, but
And it's the only civilian owned that is working. He even has right down to the guns. He said it's expensive. He said, and that's probably why I'm the only one. He said, but I got it as surplus. And he said, I paid somebody to go through and get the engines and everything going. And he has fake guns for when it's docked at his boat, docked in California. He's got fake guns. He said, but when I get out, he said, the real ones come out. And he's just so cool. And he collects missile silos, like abandoned missile sites all over the U.S. And he owns a copy of every video game ever made.
wow.
And he has the collection in his missile silo. He said it's undisclosed, so I'm not going to tell you which one, but he said that's where I keep it.
Okay, this is great all the way to the end, though, this cigar. It's good all the way to the very end. Did it get better to the end for you, or no?
It has, yeah.
It did.
There in the middle,
It finished great.
Yeah.
Mine's finishing great.
Good finish. But if there's anybody out there watching this, a cigar aficionado, some rich guy, a billionaire, you want to help somebody open up a manufacturing plant in North Carolina, hit me up. I'm your boy.
And that's the Smoked Debrief. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great day and a great life. And we will talk to you next week.